Welcome to the deep dive. We've got a whole stack of Kevin Hogan's work here, all about sales, covert hypnosis, and storytelling. You ready to dig in and see what we can uncover about persuasion?
Absolutely. And what's so cool about Hogan is that he's not just some, armchair theorist. He's been in the trenches, literally starting as a kid selling greeting cards when he was just 10 years old.
Wow, 10 years old. That's got to be more than just a kid with a lemonade stand, right? What's the big lesson there?
Well, it's like the origin story of what he calls covert hypnosis. Even way back then, he was picking up on what makes people tick,
Yeah.
noticing that people were way more likely to buy from him if they already knew him. Like familiarity breeds trust, even at that age.
That's interesting. It's kind of like a preview of his later work where he really digs into the human psyche, right? Like those 16 core desires he talks about.
Exactly. He doesn't just want you to know the list, though. He wants you to see these desires playing out in your everyday life.
Okay, so let's talk about those desires. Give us an example.
Well, take food. It seems basic, right? But Hogan points out that something like 47% of all retail sales in the U.S. are related to food.
47%, that's a lot.
Right. It just shows you that even the most basic human needs can be, well, elevated to appeal to those deeper desires. Like, think about all those fancy food brands that use words like indulgent or artisanal. They're not just selling you food, they're selling you an experience.
Yeah, it's like selling a feeling, an aspiration, not just the product itself.
Exactly. And that goes for all 16 of those desires. Take another one. What about the flight-fight desire? How people react to danger or threats.
Okay, now how does that translate to, say, advertising, or even just how we talk to each other every day?
Well, think about how they sell insurance, right? They play up the whole protect your family angle, tapping into that fear of something bad happening. Or even in a personal conversation, if you want someone to take a chance, you might frame it as avoiding a loss rather than focusing on the potential gain.
So by understanding this flight fight thing, I can tailor my message to address people's worries and concerns.
Exactly. You're speaking to their gut feeling, not just their logic. And this is where Hogan brings in the idea of mind access points.
Mind access points. Sounds kind of mysterious.
Yeah, it's like a mental shortcut to trigger a specific desire. Like if you want to tap into someone's need for status, you might use words like exclusive or VIP.
Okay, starting to get the picture here. So we've got these 16 desires driving us, and then these mind access points that are like little triggers for those desires.
And this is where covert hypnosis comes in. It's not about mind control or anything creepy like that. It's more about subtly guiding someone's thoughts and actions using language and stories that, well, resonate with those subconscious desires.
Hold on, how's that different from manipulation? Is Hogan saying we should be sneaky about this?
Not at all. He's very clear that this is about ethical influence. It's about finding that sweet spot where your offer matches what people truly want and need. It's about understanding their motivations and helping them make a choice that's good for both of you.
Okay, so it's more like persuasion then, not coercion.
Right. Think of a good salesperson. They don't just push a product. They really listen to the customer and find the perfect solution.
Makes sense. So where do stories fit into all of this?
Oh, stories. Those are the secret weapon of covert hypnosis. They grab your attention, make things memorable, and really forge that connection. Like, think about it. Would you rather listen to a boring lecture about insurance or hear a story about a family whose life was turned upside down by an unexpected tragedy?
Definitely the story. It's like you sneak the message in under the radar.
Exactly. And Hogan is a master storyteller himself. He uses these captivating anecdotes to show you how it all works in the real world.
All right, so let's hear one of those stories.
So remember that story about Hogan selling greeting cards as a kid?
Yeah, how he noticed people bought more if they knew him already.
Right, like building that connection. Let's jump ahead to when he's older and see how he uses that idea more deliberately. Remember that story about the bookstore?
Oh, yeah. The one where he goes in for his book signing and they totally forgot to promote it. Classic Hogan, though. He turns the whole thing around.
Classic. And it's a perfect example of this thing, pacing and leading. It's straight out of covert hypnosis. He doesn't get all mad at the manager, right? He's like, yeah, you're right. Doesn't seem like there's a signing happening here. He's pacing with her.
Going with the flow, kind of?
Totally. Then, bam, he leads. He gently reminds her about the contract, the book signing they agreed on. You can use this anywhere, any negotiation. First, agree, acknowledge what they're saying. Then, little by little, guide them where you want them to go.
Slick. It's like using their own energy instead of fighting against it.
Right. And it works because it makes them feel like you get it, like you're on their side. But Hogan doesn't stop there. He points out how Tom Clancy, the big shot author, gets the royal treatment, prime spot in the store.
Ah, playing the fairness card. Not even angry, just kind of, humorous about it.
So smart. He even makes this comparison like, would you treat Tom Clancy this
Yeah.
way? Not demanding anything, just showing her the discrepancy, nudging her towards a better solution.
And it works. He gets his prime spot. It's like he hypnotized her into giving him what he wanted, but also like left her feeling good about it.
That's the thing about covert hypnosis. It's not some evil trick.
Mhm.
It's about understanding how people tick and using that knowledge to make things good for everyone.
So we've been talking about these internal desires,
Yeah.
but Hogan also stresses how important it is to, pay attention to all the nonverbal stuff, body language, eye contact, even pauses.
Oh, yeah, that's fascinating stuff. He reminds us that we communicate with way more than just words, you know? Our
Yeah.
body language, our tone, even our silences, they're all sending messages.
Like he talks about mirroring body language to build rapport.
Right? It's crazy how well that works. I remember this one negotiation, things were tense. I just kind of naturally started doing what the other guy was doing, posture, gestures, and it was like, boom, the whole mood shifted. We were on the same wavelength.
Like you were subconsciously saying, hey, we're alike.
Exactly. And Hogan gives you these tips on how to do it smoothly. Matching their breathing, tilting your head the same way. Little stuff, but it adds up.
Yeah. And what about eye contact? He's got some interesting thoughts on that. Like looking away for a second can actually help someone absorb what you just said.
It's that balance, right? You want to connect, but not be all up in their face. Too much eye contact is creepy. Too little is like you're not paying attention. He even talks about pauses. Silence can be powerful.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes silence feels awkward, but it makes sense.
It lets the message sink in, gives them time to think. It can even create, like, suspense.
Yeah.
Think about how actors use those dramatic pauses. It keeps you on the edge of your seat.
So it's like you're punctuating the conversation with silence.
You got it. And it's something you can do in everyday conversations, too. Just try it, pause after you say something important, or ask a question, see how it changes things.
Wow. This is making me think differently about how I talk to people.
Yeah.
Like it's a whole dance. Words, body language, silences.
And Hogan's big on practice. He wants us to be like students of human nature. Watch people, see how they react. It's a skill you can sharpen over time.
Okay, but all this talk about persuasion, it makes me wonder, what about when it's used on us? Are we all just like helpless puppets?
Hogan gets that. He knows this stuff can be used in bad ways. But he also says if we understand the game, we're harder to trick. It's like knowing how a magic trick works.
Right, you're not so easily fooled.
Exactly. You start to notice the patterns, the little cues. You see how someone might be trying to sway you with their words or their body language. Then you get to choose how to react.
It's pretty empowering, actually.
It is. It puts you back in control. And that's what Hogan wants, really. He wants people to be better communicators for their own good and for everyone else's.
Okay, we've covered a lot here. Hogan's background, those 16 desires, the mind access points, how to use stories, body language. Anything else we should dig up from this treasure trove of persuasion?
Oh, there's plenty more. But maybe, to wrap things up, let's look at one of Hogan's most personal stories. Remember the one about how he finally raised his speaking fee?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. It's about more than money. It's about believing in yourself.
Exactly. And it shows all these principles we've been talking about all coming together.
Right, let's hear it. All right, let's talk about Hogan raising his speaking fee. He was already doing pretty well, making $2,000 a speech. Why rock the boat right?
Well, it all goes back to those 16 desires. Even when you're successful, there's usually something deeper driving you. Maybe it's wanting to feel significant, wanting to grow, to reach your full potential. I think for Hogan, staying at $2,000 was kind of eating at him. Like he knew he was worth more.
So it wasn't just about the money, it was about like matching his outer success with how he felt inside.
Exactly. But then the self-doubt creeps in. He's scared to raise his fee, scared of getting rejected, that classic what if they say no fear.
And that's where his mentor comes in, right? Doy Walters.
Yeah, Doy Walters, the speaking legend. Hogan goes to her for advice, which is a smart move, right? We often try to go it alone, but sometimes having someone who's been there, done that, it's invaluable.
Like having a guide in unfamiliar territory.
And the funny thing is, Doy's advice was so simple. She just tells him, just ask, honey. Seems obvious, right? But sometimes we need someone to tell us that, just to break through those mental barriers.
Sometimes the answer is staring us in the face, but we overthink it.
Totally. So Hogan takes her advice, and wouldn't you know it, he gets a call from this potential client, Richard Marks. And here's the twist. Hogan's sick as a dog with the flu. Not exactly the best time to be negotiating.
I'd probably just take whatever they offered.
Right. And that almost happens. Richard offers him $4,000 for the speech, double his usual rate.
Wow, that's a big jump.
Huge. Most people would take it and run.
But Hogan hesitates.
He remembers Doy's words. Just ask, honey. Even though he feels terrible, he finds the guts to stick to its $5,000 fee.
Talk about courage under pressure.
Right. It shows the power of, like, knowing your worth, being prepared. Even sick, he holds his ground.
So what does Richard say?
You're not going to believe this. Richard says yes.
No way. He agreed to the higher fee.
Yep. It just goes to show sometimes you just got to ask. Worst case, they say no. Best case, you get what you deserve.
It's a great reminder to believe in yourself, to not undersell your skills.
Totally. And the story doesn't end there. It also shows how important it is to take action even when you don't feel like it. Hogan could easily caved, taken the $4,000, used his sickness as an excuse, but he pushed through and it paid off.
Feel the fear and do it anyway.
Exactly. We're often our own worst enemies. We got to step outside that comfort zone if we want to achieve big things.
So looking back on all this Kevin Hogan wisdom, what's the big takeaway for you? What's the one thing you'll walk away with from this deep dive?
I think for me, it's that persuasion isn't some like secret society thing. It's a skill and anyone can learn it and use it for good to get what they want in life, to make a difference. Hogan breaks it all down, gives you the tools. It's up to us to use them wisely.
It's not just about getting your way. It's about connecting with people, building trust.
Absolutely. It's about moving past that, like manipulative stuff and aiming for something real.
Well said. And for everyone listening out there, here's something to think about as you go about your day. How can you use what we've talked about today, those core desires, those mind access points, even those powerful stories? How can you use it all to communicate better, to build stronger relationships? This deep dive has given you the map. Now it's your turn to explore.